sometimes we find ourselves going and going and going and going, and it takes somebody else to tell us, hey, from the outside, it looks like you're going.
Studies say when you smile, you feel better. It does something to you internally when you smile.
We're not Superman.
Right.
And it's a normal thing for us to get exhausted. And it's a normal thing for our bodies to react. And when we get to the point where our bodies say no, best believe it's time to listen.
All exhaustion is not exhaustion from other people, but sometimes it comes from us.
Just because you're busy doesn't mean that you're aligned with what God is trying to get you to do.
Ooh, come on.
Just because the doors are open doesn't mean you have the right set of keys.
Ooh.
Walk in your purpose. Don't let anyone deter you from what God has from you. You will get tired, but keep on pressing.
Ooh. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Old to Be Young podcast, the tired and worn out edition, as someone would say. I am excited to be here today, excited to be recording this episode, and excited for this to be episode 2. I hope that you have enjoyed 1, and if you have not watched episode 1, please go back and give it a watch, and be sure to like, subscribe, and comment any questions or thoughts that you may have. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt drained? Not I need a nap, not I need to stay up late, but to the point where you're so drained that responding to a text message is even hard. That type of drain. So Caleb, I'm excited for you to be joining me here today, y'all. This is one of my great friends we met here at the University of Mississippi during my freshman year, and I could not be more elated to have this young man to talk about his experience in terms of being burnt out and young, of course, because he may look old, but he's actually very young. I'm sorry, it's your turn. You can talk now.
Oh, Lord. Hello, everyone. My name is Minister Caleb Roberson, and I'm just...
Okay, he's a minister.
Yes. And I'm just so excited to be here on O to Be Young podcast, the O to Be Tired edition.
My God.
Just to give my insight of what I can do and what I can say to just add to what we're all feeling, what we all can feel about being exhausted and tired, because God knows that all of us go through these same things. And it takes someone else to talk about it for us to actually express how we feel.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up. And I will say, being just in this space with you and other people in community, this is more so of therapy. Because it's just like, I guess you are journaling, but out loud.
Right.
Right. So I'm glad to be having this conversation here. I have a question. Man, I'm going to answer it first.
Okay.
When do you feel the most exhausted? And for me, I think I feel the most exhausted when I have been running for several days in a row. And my grandmother would often tell me, you need to slow down. And sometimes I would get defensive because I'm like, I am going slow. How slow do you want me to go? But essentially, she knows something about myself that I have not quite figured out. She can see the exhaustion before I can realize that I'm even exhausted. And I get to the point where I'm so irritated with people and myself, and then I become angry almost because I'm so dang tired. So that's my experience. When do you feel like that?
I'm with your grandmother. What she says that you need to slow down, because sometimes we find ourselves going and going and going and going, and it takes somebody else to tell us, hey, from the outside, it looks like you're going. And I've gone through that same thing where it feels like people are telling me, slow down, Caleb. You can't be preaching everywhere. You can't be going all these places, this, and there. But I'm like, I'm just now getting started. Like,
Right.
This is what ministry is supposed to be, going and spreading the gospel here and there. But it does drain you, and it is a load when you're not able to effectively disperse all that you need to. Because once you go in every single week, every single day, then you don't realize it until you're to a point where you're irritated with people. And so then you start feeling the side effects of being actually exhausted and tired. When one, you're frustrated when people say something, you're wanting to hide yourself from other people, not want to converse and socialize. I mean, that's just all a part of being tired. You're tired of being socially aware and socially out in the crowd, and you just want to be by yourself. And I found myself to where, hey, I want the engagements, but I also want the peace.
I like that. Snap for that one. I like that. But let me say this, and I think one of those days where I was like that today because I had been up since like 4 or 5 in the morning, running, doing several things for several other people. And I just got to the point when I got to the post office, I was there to ship off some stuff. And this woman, she saw I had 5 boxes in my hand going in. And, you know, I was expecting her to open that door for me, at least hold it. She was walking through it. She walked right on through. And it kind of made me just a little bit upset. Not because she had to, but that would have been the courteous thing to do. But then I realized I wasn't upset at the lady for not opening the door. I was just irritated to the point where I didn't want to deal with people even. I didn't even want to be in that space. And I had to check myself, and I started praying internally, Lord, allow me to calm down inside, allow me to put a smile on my face, because you know, studies say, you know, I'm a little policy nerd. Studies say when you smile, you feel better. It does something to you internally when you smile, right? So I started practicing it because I had several boxes to ship out today, and I just found myself feeling better.
Right. Right, that's what Kirk Franklin says. He said, I smile, even though it hurts, I smile. Sometimes when it's not so much of hurts in your face, but it hurts to smile when you know that things are not pitch perfect. And I guess that would be my advice to people, is that it's okay to put on a smile when everything around you is not smile worthy.
Right.
And like you were saying about your day and how you were ripping and running, we had class together just today, and I felt, and I saw the stress on your face and how you were running and had to go here and there trying to make agendas and do all this other stuff. And again, it just adds on to the tiredness, the exhaustion. And so we can't allow how we feel to suppress our mood, you know.
Y'all type that. Y'all write that.
Right. Because once we suppress our mood, then it's self-affliction to our day, how we're feeling, our attitudes, and just our outlook on the day. Because once you start the day off with 50 million things to do, you're like, forget the rest of the day.
Right. I don't want to do it.
Right.
And I'm glad that you brought that up. It goes into the actual very first point that we've all been saying, but I'm going to say it out loud so the people can write in their notes. Some exhaustion is self-inflicted. We cause ourselves to be into predicaments that we are. And I have some points here. Not all exhaustion is oppression. Not all burnout is someone else's fault. Some of us are tired because we say yes too much. Some of us are tired because we don't even know how to say no. And I'm talking about myself here. A lot of times people text, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Yes, immediately. But that is not always what my body can take. And now that I'm thinking about it, Caleb, so back in 24, I remember when it first happened, August, right after my birthday, I noticed like something was on the side of my head, like my head was balding. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought my barber honestly had caused it. Sorry. But I thought he had caused it at the time. And so I stopped going to him and I started going to someone else. Right. And he said he noticed the same thing. So I stopped going to him because I'm saying, are y'all doing something to my hair? And I just didn't know. But then I went to my dermatologist. And he told me that is my body telling me to slow down. He said, you got too many jobs. You're in too many fellowships. You need to sit you know what down. That's exactly what he said. And he told me that it's not alopecia. It's not cancerous cells. It's your body responding to stress. You're doing entirely too much. And then what makes me think of all exhaustion is not exhaustion from other people, but sometimes it comes from us.
That's right. I guess when you run yourself so much, your body does have to keep up with your mind, because your mind, I mean, you have the mentality of I'm Superman, I can handle this. But sometimes your body does have to remind you, no, you're not.
He reminded me, you remember when I had Spotty?
Oh yes, I do remember. Y'all, he wore a hat every
day.
You know, but it just goes to show you that we're not Superman.
Right.
And it's a normal thing for us to get exhausted. And it's a normal thing for our bodies to react. And when we get to the point where our bodies say no, best believe it's time to listen. Because when
What's too
friends tell us, when grandparents and family tell us, sometimes we're so caught up in macho-ness that we try to ignore it and say and put it off. But when your body says it, listen.
And now it's going to take me to my other point. Busy is not always the same as aligned.
No, it's not.
Because sometimes, and I love this, I'm glad I wrote this down because I'm quick to forget, you know me. Being busy feels like productivity, but sometimes it's just avoidance. Sometimes there are things that we don't want to face as young people. Maybe there's a paper that we don't want to write. Maybe there's an apology that we owe someone, but we don't want to give it to them because it's a hard thing and we're too prideful. Sometimes we're finding other things for us to do because we don't want to face what's right in front of us.
Right. And I feel like even that going into the ministry is that just because you're busy doesn't mean that you're aligned with what God is trying to get you to do.
Ooh, come on.
Just because the doors are open doesn't mean you have the right set of keys.
That's a word.
I feel like is a big thing because a lot of young preachers I know, just because they're getting engaged, but doesn't mean you're living the life God is calling you to do. And it's crazy because a lot of us are showing and preaching. We can bring a house down, but how is your life outside the pulpit?
Right.
Because God is calling us to be preachers, but He's also calling us to be doers of the word. So you can't just be a teller of the word and not actually doing what you're telling other folks to do.
Right.
So if we are able to walk in alignment and not just be caught up in the busyness, then God will bless us even more because He sees us in our obedience, but also in our as we are called to His purpose. So.
God, well, I know this, God, I want to be aligned with what you are doing in my life for me. I don't want to walk just to be walking. I want to walk where I am purposeful, where I am spiritually fed.
Right, that's what the word says. And we know that all things will work according to...
Come on, Bishop. We're not going to preach, but if you want to, you have it. I'm not going to pay you. It's volunteer.
Oh, yeah, pro bono.
Yeah, that's it. Moving on to my third point I want to make before we have to wrap this up. Rest won't always fix what boundaries would. Let's talk about it. We treat rest like it's a reward. Like, I'll rest when I'm finished. I'll rest when I'm done. I'll rest after this season. When does that season ever end?
Right. It is with you. And so when you're saying that rest is my reward, no, rest is not your reward. Rest should be an essential part of your timeline. Like, just like you're trying to start the activity, rest always comes in it. Just like when you're playing football, when you're playing basketball, I mean, you're playing first through fourth quarter, but what's in the middle? Halftime. Okay. We have to put in our own halftime and not act like it's a reward. Winning is the reward.
Ooh. Come on.
Resting is a part of the routine.
It's the process.
That's right.
Oh, come on. Oh, I feel like this is going to turn into with that type of fight. Okay, I feel it in my shandado. Oh, yes. So I want to say this. Some of us need a nap. Just like that. We need a no. We need someone to be in our face telling us this is not what you need to do. We need somebody like my grandmother that's going to tell me no and don't do it.
Let me pause you there, though. Somebody can tell us, but we have to be able to listen.
Ooh.
That's a lot of our problems. We don't like to listen.
Yes. And I can admit, I can have that problem too. I can have that problem. But let's go to the fourth point. Not everything you're carrying is yours. We often pick up others people's problems because, as people who are known as to be very strong people, we're often being called with a lot of problems. And I know you may experience this in your ministry work. People are often calling with their issues. And I'm one of those type of people who I try not to allow other people to feed their energy, to feed onto me. But if someone calls me and they're hurting, I immediately feel what they may be causing. Someone's mother died. I've never lost my mother, thank God. But I can only imagine how a young person would feel losing their mother.
Right. I do feel like that we stretch ourselves to stinks that That's unhealthy. And so I've always heard the saying, you got to protect your peace.
Shout out to my auntie. She has a whole line on protecting
you gotta protect your peace. And just because people are going through things, of course God puts people in your path to help. But he didn't put you in their path to take on.
Ooh, that'll preach.
That's for them to take on. And he puts angels, he puts people to help you along the way.
Come on.
But that's not your burden to hold. People have to understand that the burden that you carry is between you and the Lord. Not everybody else's. Get their opinions. Try to seek help. In order for you to get that W, you got to put in the work yourself.
Gotta put in the work. If you don't get anything else from...
You can't hand me my win if I didn't work for it.
That's right.
Because it ain't my win, it's yours.
Exactly.
No, somebody.
Okay. Y'all, we trying to be serious here. We trying to be serious. Listen, if you are feeling worn out lately, I don't want you to feel validated. I want you to investigate it. What am I doing right now that looks very impressive? What am I doing right now that I don't necessarily have to do? What is it in my life that I can stop doing for the betterment of myself? You have to rest. You don't have to be worn out. Yes, you will get exhausted. Yes, you will get tired. Yes, you will be restless, but that is not always your story. That is not always your case, and that is not a positive way to live your life. And I'm done because I'm gonna keep on going. What you got to say so we can wrap this thing up?
All I have to say is the scripture. And we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose.
My God.
Walk in your purpose and don't let anyone deter you from what God has from you. You will get tired, but keep on pressing.
Whew. I feel like that word, when you be in the pulpit, the word not only be for the people, but it be for you. You be preaching to yourself, right?
Preach to yourself.
Well, let me wrap this up so I can go in and shout in my own accord. Oh, to be young. You are not lost. You are becoming. I see you for week 3. Thank you.